First Alert Radar Network.
With up to 10 times the resolution of other local radars and technology that can pinpoint right down to your street.
First just got faster.
Thanks for watching News 12 on your side.
Parker's Kitchen is my new daily coffee stop.
Gourmet beans are freshly ground for every cup. Get your own cup of great tasting, freshly brewed coffee at Parker's Kitchen.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 live at 5.
Good evening, I'm Meredith Anderson. President Donald Trump's new...
In the upper 70s, area-wide for tomorrow. We'll look at your forecast for this week and talk about maybe some slight rain chances in the 7-day coming up.
All right, thanks for that, Mikkel. The Richmond County Coroner's Office is investigating a suspicious death. Officials say 82-year-old Harry Millard, a resident at the Barclay Senior Living Center, was injured back on January 6th. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead January 17th. The coroner's office says deputies notified them of all of this back on January 30th. Now, an incident report lists Curtis Hightower as a suspect, but he is not charged with anything related to a death. Arrest warrants state Hightower hit Millard, causing him to fall, hit his head, and lose consciousness. Hightower is being held at the Richmond County Jail on charges of aggravated battery and exploitation of an elderly or disabled person. An Evans man is under arrest after authorities say he exposed himself at a local park. Columbia County deputies were able to connect 36-year-old Zachary Matthews to another case similar to this one that they had not been able to solve. Matthews is charged with 2 counts of public indecency for a first or second conviction. A South Carolina neighborhood woke up to immigrations and customs enforcement. South Carolina lawmakers are considering a change that would expand protections for more victims of domestic abuse. Advocates say it is necessary and long overdue. Your South Carolina State House reporter Mary Green has those details.
Legislation that will be before the Senate Judiciary Committee this week aims to modernize state code when it comes to relationships and intimate partner violence. Supporters say passing this bill would save lives.
We are currently one of only 4 states that does not provide dating partners the opportunity to access the stronger or more immediate provisions protection under orders of protection.
2 nearly identical bills filed in the Senate would expand who can ask a South Carolina court for an order of protection in a domestic abuse situation. Right now, these are the groups that qualify under existing law. This legislation would make these changes, getting rid of what's crossed out and adding what's underlined. That would include people in a dating relationship who don't live together or have a child together. It would also add same-sex couples, whom a 2017 state Supreme Court ruling determined can petition for orders of protection, but state code still doesn't reflect that.
The fact that the statutory language still contains the terms male and female causes ongoing confusion amongst the courts, attorneys, advocates, and victims. This confusion often results in qualifying victims believing or being told that they are not entitled to the protections of the statute.
And during a recent hearing, some senators raised questions about what exactly would qualify as a dating relationship. The bill stipulates this would be up to a judge to determine in each situation based on factors like the length and type of relationship. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
Meanwhile, the National Rifle Association says it opposes the proposal to add dating relationships to state law. A representative for the gun advocacy group says they're concerned it's too broad and could lead to more people losing their Second Amendment right to own firearms. Former President Jimmy Carter is still leaving his mark on the world. Last night, he won a posthumous Grammy for his audio recordings of his final Sunday school lesson at his church in Georgia. This is Carter's 4th Grammy after winning 3 in the same category. If the former president won before his death, he would have been the oldest Grammy winner in history. Jason Carter, his grandson, received the award on his behalf. Trump's tariffs could have a major impact on...
And it's going to be chilly by tomorrow morning, but not anywhere near freezing. So those above average starts and our above average afternoons do continue. We'll look at your forecast in detail coming up next.
Time and temp, brought to you by your First Alert weather team.
It's the coldest time of year in the CSRA. To stay up to date on anything winter weather to severe weather, download our First Alert weather app to get the most accurate forecast in our area.
How do you part you found online might be too good to be true. Coming up, we show you the counterfeits flooding the market and how you can spot them.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Your Rooms to Go Kids bed sale ends Monday. We had these beautiful golden chandeliers.
Where's the hot sauce bar?
Honey, not every place can have a hot sauce bar like Firehouse Subs.
I'll be in the car.
There is a growing and alarming problem at the U.S. border. Counterfeit auto parts are
Maybe up until midnight for some areas, so a light jacket may be needed at most, but we're not talking about any freezing temperatures or anything like that, being that it is winter. But we're looking at temperatures closer to 50 for tomorrow morning. We'll talk about warm temperatures and also chances for rainfall coming up.
Sounds good, thanks, Mikkel. Georgia Power says it wants to keep burning coal to meet the state's rising electricity demand. The utility company says data centers are behind the increasing demand across the entire state. And it's not just coal. Georgia Power also wants to increase its output at nuclear sites like Plant Vogtle. This is part of the company's forecast for the next 3 years, and commissioners are now needing to decide now that the company will pay for it. It's unclear how this move could filter down to you, the consumer, but customers are already feeling the brunt of these recent rate increases. The current Georgia Power customer currently paying an average of $163 each month before taxes. That's $40 more per month than in 2019.
Another major company is investing in Georgia. Today, PBS Aerospace announced it is moving its headquarters to Roswell and investing nearly $20 million to do it. PBS Aerospace is a designer and manufacturer of small turbojet engines that works closely with the Department of Defense. The CEO says Georgia's skilled workforce is a primary reason for choosing the Peach State for its headquarters.
And on the South Carolina side, development continues on the massive Scout Motors production site. Today, SCDOT broke ground on an entirely new interchange on I-77, which will service the $2 billion Blythewood facility. Once at full capacity, the plant will produce more than 200,000 all-electric trucks and SUVs per year and create 4,000 jobs. That project is set to be complete by the end of next year.
We now know the names of the two soldiers killed during training at Fort Stewart. They are 28-year-old Staff Sergeant Shelby Butner and 25-year-old Specialist Jacob Mullen. Both were killed in a crash during a training exercise Thursday night. Authorities say they were operating a vehicle under blackout conditions when they rolled off a road into standing water.
Well, thieves are skimming millions of federal taxpayer dollars from EBT cards, and there is currently no plan in place to protect Georgia cardholders. This is something that many of you have brought to our attention, and you're not alone.
No, you're not. Anastasia Olmos is with our sister station, Atlanta News First. She found that families called the state to report EBT theft were told they wouldn't get their money back.
A single mom with 5 kids, struggling to put food on the counter.
I'm trying to figure it out. And it's just me. I don't have any family here.
Lakenya Moore was at the grocery store in Metro Atlanta when she noticed the funds to feed her family for the month were gone.
So they knew exactly what was on there. 196, then 198, 194, and they went into, it was none left.
6 transactions in 1 minute and 6 seconds in Pennsylvania, Tampa, and Miami.
I've never been to Florida. I've never been to Philadelphia.
The money was from her SNAP benefits account.
It was exactly $1,111 that they took, the full amount within minutes of it being loaded on there.
Moore says she pleaded with the Georgia Department of Human Services to replace the funds, but they told her she missed the deadline.
They just said it was nothing they could do.
That's because federal reimbursement Congress passed in 2022 amid a rise in skimming ended December 2024. Now the responsibility falls on the state.
Kids have no relatives. We're just here. I don't know what to do.
An hour and a half away in Covington, Patrice Hayes is also worried about making food last for the month.
I literally went to Walmart that morning at 10:30, and by 12 o'clock, it was
everything was depleted.
4 transactions across Philadelphia in 1 minute.
$393.
Another mother in Beaufort with 7 children sent Atlanta News First investigates screenshots of fraud on her EBT card in 4 states last week. 8 stores in 2 minutes at 1:42 in the morning, totaling near $1,700. 5 of the locations in Pennsylvania and Florida match Moore's transactions from 2 weeks before. We made some calls and spoke with 2 of the stores in Pennsylvania, a pizza shop and a tobacco store, both saying they are not involved. In fact, they don't accept EBT cards and weren't even open at the time of some of the transactions. The manager at Pottsville Tobacco and Hookah says people keep calling, begging for their money back, and even accusing them of stealing in Google reviews.
Sometimes people cry on the phone, and they're really hurting me. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know who's doing it, but it's not really the stores.
EBT money is dispersed through the United States Department of Agriculture. A look at its data from 2024 shows an alarming uptick in SNAP fraud across the country. In the first quarter, $43 million stolen. By the last quarter, more than 4 times that, at nearly $200 million stolen. Atlanta News First Investigates reached out to the USDA with questions but did not hear back, so we went to the Food Research and Action Center.
Why isn't there some sort of universal security to stop the theft in the first place?
A lot of people think these EBT cards have all the protections like the private industry had, like chip cards, CVV numbers, expiration dates. But unfortunately, that's just not the case.
In August, the USDA changed standards to allow states to implement SNAP EBT cards with chip technology. But the only 2 states that have started this effort are California and Oklahoma.
It's a slap in the face, because how am I going to feed my children?
For Georgia families barely getting by, they're begging the state to do something.
If you don't want to put any money in the security of these cards, then go back to the paper stamps. You can't hack that.
In November, the USDA secretary wrote a letter to state governors asking them to start transitioning to chip cards, saying it is the best way to protect SNAP benefits. Georgia DHS tells us this card chipping is not yet possible because most EBT vendors do not accept chipped cards.
Still ahead, Georgia's first Senate bill of the legislative session is targeting transgender athletes and what teams they can play on. Your State House reporter Abby Kasoris has the latest from Atlanta. Mikkel?
Well, we are looking at sunny skies for tomorrow. Some clouds, though, by your Wednesday, maybe even some rain chances. We'll break it down in your full forecast coming up next.
Time and Temp, brought to you by your First Alert weather team.
This is not you.
But I think we have a chance at least seeing 70 each day.
All right, thanks for that, Mikkel. Tonight, a battle of the bills. Democrats and Republicans are sparring to decide if transgender athletes can participate in girls' sports across Georgia.
Your Georgia State House reporter Abby Kasoris explains the fight is far from over.
Today's battle, months in the making. The first Senate bill banning transgender athletes from participating in women's sports. But today, Democrats standing with LGBTQ advocates presenting a bill of their own.
To show up and to show out for Georgia's girl athletes.
The first openly LGBTQ state senator Kim Jackson sponsoring Senate Bill 41, the Equal Opportunities in Sports Act, requiring equal treatment for boys and girls teams, equipment, practice times, coaches, and funding. According to the Women's Sports Foundation, by the time they get to high school, girls are twice as likely to drop out of sports. They found one of the top reasons a lack of investment in school programs.
Our female athletes are here begging for real solutions to their real problems. And to be clear, our trans girls are the farthest from the problem.
Her bill coming after another to ban transgender athletes from participating in women's sports. Members of the LGBTQ community saying the bill alienates trans people.
And what's frustrating is that this attitude toward trans people is coming from the highest levels of government.
Senate Bill 1 would apply to Georgia public middle and high schools, colleges, and universities. 25 states have passed similar bans. The bill's sponsor, State Senator Greg Dolezal, says safety and fairness trump inclusion.
In our neighboring state, North Carolina, Peyton McNabb, a high schooler, had received a spike to the face in a volleyball game, suffered a brain bleed, partial paralysis, and what this bill is going to ensure is that the next Peyton McNabb is not in the state of Georgia.
Democrats calling on Republican colleagues to support the bill.
I haven't read the bill, but certainly equal opportunity, equal participation is what we want. I find it a little bit ironic that the same people who are fighting for that can't seem to decide who should actually participate in female sports.
Dolezal's bill is a priority bill for Senate Republicans and Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. With 30 co-sponsors, that's a Senate majority right there. House Speaker John Burns has said previously that he supports a ban. He is holding a press conference on this issue on Tuesday. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasoris.
Thanks, Abby. The first public images of former President Jimmy Carter's final resting place have been released. On your screen, you can see Jimmy's gravesite at his Plains home right next to his lifelong love, Rosalind Carter. And Jimmy Carter National Historic Park says their graves overlook the pond that the Carters themselves built and finished in Plains. The park says it's working on public access to the Memorial Garden so Americans can pay respects to the only president to come from Georgia.
So where's my Party People app? Have I got an app for you? I'm Jamie Tucker, coming up with a smartphone app that eliminates maybe the biggest headache of planning a party, picking a date.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Please join me for a live educational webinar where I'll break down every aspect of Medicare. I promise you'll walk away feeling confident and prepared to take the next step on your Medicare journey. It's free to join, and you can sign up right on our website, Wrdw64.com.
I got to know Austin when he was a student. I just remember that he was just an upstanding young man, very respectful. When I had my car accident, I thought to myself, I'm going to call Austin Jackson.
As we sit here today, I'm thrilled to hear that you're feeling much better. That's how I want to see people in the end. They're back to the way they were before the wreck happened. I'm so glad you called us, and it's a privilege to be able to pay back the people who've helped shape me.
Ready? It's happening. Investment. High-Tech Power Systems Incorporated. Locally owned and serving the CSRA since 1986.
Never took you for a mariachi guy. Really not a huge fan, but seems to be all of us do these days. Wrdw64.com. Who are you talking to?
The hardest part of planning a party for friends isn't picking a theme, it's not the food, it is picking the date that most people can attend.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that's true right now.
Yeah.
Planning a wedding, it's not very easy. Your consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker has an app that can help plan events around very busy schedules.
Yeah, I really wish I had found this app before. It eliminates the big headache when it comes to picking a party date by letting the guest respond before you send out the official invitations. Partyful has lots of options in designing evites, styles for all sorts of party invitations, from chill to dinners to movie nights. Add a few details and a note about the party. And then once you've decided on the evite, offer up a few options for the dates, maybe a Friday or Saturday night in the next few weekends. Partyful will send a pre-invitation to the guest list asking for input. Guests can pick a date or dates they could attend by responding with a will go, maybe, or can't go. And once the host gets responses, they then decide which date works for the most people. You can blast out the invites by text, email, or share them on social media. Hosts also have options to ask about dietary restrictions, what people can bring, and even making it easy for guests to chip in through Venmo. And the app will automatically send reminders to RSVP and another reminder the day before the party. And once the party's over, guests can share their photos of the party with everyone else. Best of all, this app is free for iPhone and Android devices, and the guests do not need the app on their phone. They just need to let you know when they can come. I'm Jamie Tucker, and Partyful is the app of the day.
And you can also try the app without downloading it to your phone by visiting partyful.com.
High school wrestling is heating up, and one school in our area is chasing the record books in pursuit of making history.
Your News 12 sports director, Alyssa Lyons, joins us live in studio to bring us more. Alyssa.
The Aiken boys wrestling team has never made it past the round one. They're now just one win away from making it to the semifinal round. The Green Hornets have been underdogs since the playoffs started, if you can believe that. 7th seeded, they had to get past 10 seed South Aiken in round one. Then they had to play 2 seed North Augusta right after. Aiken came out of that match with a 45-38 win. Tonight, they'll travel 2 hours to Hartsville to take on 3 seed Breaded Foxes.
So I know I'm a
big player for the team. My job is to go out there, get those 6 points, get that pin every time. They depend on me for that, and I go out there, I do my job. I don't really care who's there. Usually it's just somebody I can beat, so I just go out there, pin them, get it done.
I want to give it my all. I want to do the best I can, and I want to leave it all out there with me being about to leave high school. So that'd be amazing.
If Aiken advances past round 3, they'll be bound for the school's first ever lower state championship on Saturday against either May River or Gilbert. Joe Doring will have more on this in the next half hour.
Well, thank you for that, Alyssa. We're looking at temperatures tonight, just chilly, but not anywhere near freezing, and that'll be the trend all week long. We'll talk about your forecast again coming up next.
Serious truck crash?
And we're back looking at a beautiful sunset here behind me. Also want to point out, though, that we have traffic that is basically almost standstill here. This is just outside exit 200 off Riverwatch Parkway, heading towards exit 1, so heading towards the state line, and getting word that there could be a possible accident. There is an accident somewhere near exit 1, so that is why we have this traffic all the way backed up into the Georgia side of things. But heading towards the state line, there are definitely some slow-going traffic on I-20 eastbound. So a heads up if you do have to make that commute. 66 here in Augusta, 80s in Texas, so we're definitely seeing that warm air favoring southern parts of the United States for today, which includes us, and we'll see temperatures staying above average here, it looks like, for the majority of this week. Definitely looking at more cloud cover, though, by your Wednesday, some stray showers possible Wednesday through Sunday, so just keep that in mind in terms of being outdoors.
All right, thanks, Mikkel. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
First Alert Radar.